So welcome to this short introduction and guided practice of self-Tonglen, which is a practice of self-compassion. Quite often when we sit quietly in meditation, actually what we start to find is that some of the feelings, sensations, stories in our heads are actually quite difficult to be with. When we become more aware of what's going on inside, it's almost like we can start to tighten up or try to repress or push away these parts or aspects of ourselves that, I think we find hard, just find difficult, or we don't like. So there's something then in the practice of self-compassion and self-Tonglen of trying to meet these difficult aspects of ourselves with kindness, with warmth. And in the Tonglen practice, we do this through the medium of our breath. So as we sit, as we notice maybe tightness, tension in our body, difficult feelings, what we do is we actually kind of breathe into them or breathe more deeply and start to actually meet them or embrace them with the sense of our in-breath. And then as we breathe out, it's more like we're just releasing, sending ourselves, the tension, the difficult aspects, the loneliness, whatever it is, we're just sending it the warmth, kindness, reassurance that we or these different parts of us need. So in a way, self-Tonglen is a way of finding a sense of resolution or healing within ourselves that we so often look for outside in our lives, yet never quite seem to find. Very simple. So I'm going to lead this now as a guided practice. I think first time we do it, it's often easiest with our eyes closed. So just taking a moment to maybe close our eyes, just land or ground ourselves a little bit. Maybe feeling our seat, our body on our chair, our feet on the ground. And just bringing awareness to our breath. Feeling the rise in our chest, our tummy, as we breathe in. And this very natural kind of releasing or softening in our body as we just breathe out again. So we could take a moment just to notice now, how are we? What's going on inside? And we might become aware of perhaps some tightness or tension in our body as we sit. And we could imagine that as we breathe in, it's like we're breathing in to that tightness. Almost our breath just moves there to any tension or stiffness we feel. So we acknowledge it, we're meeting it with our in-breath. And as we breathe out again, it's just this sense of kind of releasing, softening. It's almost like as we breathe out, we're just sending a little bit of ease, a little bit of space to the tightness or tension that we experience. With our in-breath, we breathe into the tightness. And with our out-breath, we're just sending softening, ease, a little bit of calm. We could just be aware of any other little bits of discomfort, perhaps in our body, anywhere else that feels a little uncomfortable. As we bring awareness to these places, just instead of tightening up or trying to push these feelings away, it's almost like we're just breathing into them. Just meeting discomfort, any pain, just meeting it with our in-breath, accepting that it's there. With our out-breath, again, just sending some sense of release, relief, be softening, just a little bit of space. We're not even trying to change the tension or discomfort. We're just meeting it with our in-breath. And as we breathe out, just sending a little bit of space. We're just softening our way of being with the experience. Sometimes when we just meet ourselves in this way, it's almost like there's two different aspects to our being. There's one aspect that's just observing, just aware, just holding our attention, our experience with this big, kind awareness. It's almost like this wonderful true friend aspect of ourselves that's always just present, always there, always with us. Yet then there's also this other part of us, a part that may feel a little bit hurt or is wounded by life. Parts of us that might feel sometimes lonely or anxious, sad, just not good enough in some way. The parts of us that we normally reject or try to push away. So in the practice, we can almost imagine that within ourselves, these two aspects are present. And as we sit and just breathe, we can imagine that this very kind, loving, kind of true friend aspect of our being really meets and just acknowledges any hurt or pain that this more wounded, vulnerable quality of our being is holding. Like these two aspects are there together. This warm, aware, true friend aspect really just holds the other part of us, this big, warm, loving space. We could imagine that as we breathe in, like this true friend aspect really takes on, embraces all of the hurt or pain this more difficult, wounded aspect is holding. So really just breathe it in, acknowledge that it's there, acceptance, and we're just holding it with kindness. This big space of awareness, this big, warm, true friend aspect that just holds, observes with kindness. So we're just breathing in, meeting whatever's there, whatever we experience. As we breathe out again, it's like this true friend, deeper aspect of our being. It's just breathing out warmth, love, kindness, compassion. This true friend aspect is just breathing out and sending all the reassurance, kindness, calm that this other part of us needs to feel. We're breathing in with compassion, just meeting anything that feels tender or raw. And we're breathing out with love, just responding to our own vulnerability, our own tenderness, as with warmth and with kindness. Could imagine that we breathe in our own fear, anxiety. As we breathe out, we're just sending ourselves reassurance, safety, courage, sense of calm, sense of softening. Or we could breathe in any sense of smallness, isolation, loneliness that we might feel. As we breathe out, we're just sending ourselves a sense of friendship, openness, a sense of warmth and connection. We could breathe in any sense we sometimes have of just being overwhelmed, that everything feels too much. And we can just respond to ourselves, our own anxieties, just with reassurance, a sense of self-comfort. Could breathe out and send ourselves inner strength or self-belief. It's like we'd know what to say to a good friend. What do we need to hear ourselves? What do we need just to feel reassurance, feel reassured or connected, or in contact, just centered in ourselves. As we breathe out, just sending this to us, sending it to ourselves. As we breathe in, really feel our breath just expanding in our body. Just connecting to feeling, sensation. Just meeting ourselves. As we breathe out, just softening. Just feeling that kind of release in our body, our shoulders. Just sending ourselves warmth, softening, any sense of easing, releasing that we need. We could breathe in any sense of guilt or regrets that we have in life. As we breathe out, we could just send ourselves a sense of resolution, a sense of finishing, just a sense of forgiveness. We could breathe in any lack of meaning or kind of lack of direction we might feel in our lives at this moment. As we breathe out, we could just send ourselves connection with something spiritual, just a sense of something greater, a purpose maybe vaster and bigger, just the smallness of ourselves and the crisis or difficulties we might be going through temporarily in this time. We breathe in and we breathe out. We just feel our breath in our body, that connection with ourselves, a deeper dimension of our being. And with each in-breath, we're just meeting ourselves, just connecting with our being. And with each out-breath, it's like we're just breathing out into space. Each out-breath is just this bigger and bigger sense of openness, sense of space. Just this much bigger holding, which all these different aspects of our being can just be, just gently release. There's just one much bigger awareness, space of warmth or kindness. Everything's held in. Everything naturally unfolds, releases, can just be. As we start to bring the practice to a close, we could imagine that these hurt or vulnerable aspects of ourselves really received all the warmth, kindness, reassurance that they need. That they feel fully heard, acknowledged, fully met in the practice. It's like we've received all the trust, confidence, comfort. It's like this much bigger true friend aspect of ourselves. It's now really just holding the full space. And these two aspects of ourselves then just come together again. Just coming together. And just leaving us with this deep sense of well-being, contentment, just this sense of wholeness or inner peace inside. And we just rest in that space for a moment or two. And we just let go of the practice. And we could just have that wish or intention that in the future, whenever anxiety or tension, loneliness, or these other more difficult aspects of our feelings might arise, we just kind of remember this space. Just a simple practice with our breath, just meeting ourselves as we are in the moment. And instead of tightening up or trying to suppress whatever's going on, we can just breathe into it, just meet it, the fullness of our being, and just stay present. Just to stay with this kind of space.